Welcome back. Today I have a 20-minute yoga sequence to soothe low back pain. Please see your doctor if you are unsure of how you got a low back injury or if you are in a lot of pain already. We're going to need 2 yoga blocks and 1 strap. If you don't have blocks, grab 2 thick books. And if you don't have a strap, you can use a dog leash or a belt for your pants. Throughout these 20 minutes, we're going to stay close to the ground. We're not jumping. There's no standing poses. So this is going to be a nice, relaxing 20 minutes together. But keep in mind, you should always check in with your body. If something hurts, take a modification or don't do it at all. What works for you will work differently for someone else, so make sure that you are customizing your practice. Enjoy. Beginning in child's pose on the back of your mat, big toes to touch, knees are spread wide, palms and forehead are touching the mat. Arms are out long in front of you. You can give your shoulders and neck more space by bending your elbows out wide, touching your pointer finger and thumb in front of you to form a diamond shape on the mat. Inhale into the low back through the nose. On an exhale, allow the breath to release out. Inhale, lift the right arm up and thread the needle, sending your right arm under your chest, resting your right shoulder down on the mat. Arm is straight, reaching out to your left side. Left hand is pushing into the mat and you're sinking your right hip down so that your hips are still level on your heels. You can start to open up the chest toward the left side of the room. Inhale, find length from sit bones to crown of head. Exhale, gently twist open to the sky. Inhale, set your right arm back out in front of you. Reset the spine quickly in a child's pose. And send your left arm under your chest, left shoulder down to the ground, left palm facing up to the sky, threading the needle. Press your right hand into the mat to open up your chest. And think of a weight in your left hip. Sending your tailbone to the back of the room, lengthening out your spine on an inhale, and on an exhale, you twist deeper to the right and up to the sky. Inhale, begin to press yourself up with your right hand, back to child's pose. Forehead resting on the mat. Inhale to tabletop, wrists stacked under your shoulders, knees stacked under hips. Begin to hug the elbows in close to the ribs as you lower your torso and body down to the mat, prepping for cobra. 10 toes pointing back behind you, pressing into the mat. Pelvic bone pressing into the mat. Hands directly under your shoulders. Inhale, lift your chest off the mat from your core and low back. Exhale, lower your forehead back down. Inhale to cobra, making sure you're using your low back to lift. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, hands spread wide on either side of your mat, out in front of you. Just lifting up to cobra and another variation here. Lower down. Inhale, push back to child's pose. Tuck the back toes under with bent knee. Send your sit bones high. Fingertips are spread wide. Chest reaching toward your thighs. Shoulder blades relax down your back. Inhale, walk your dog. Exhale, lengthen the spine. Inhale, step your left foot forward in between your hands. Kick back through your right heel like crazy with a straight knee, sending your chest forward. Drop the right knee down to the mat now that you've found the form and integrity here. You can take blocks on either side of your front foot, pressing the weight of your hands into the block, squeezing your hips toward one another. Left hip crease comes back as your right hip crease moves slightly forward to square off the hips. And you can intensify this stretch on your right psoas muscle by bending and leaning in to your knee, making sure your knee does not extend past your front toes. Inhale deeply, sending the breath down into your hips, exhaling everything out. Inhale, release any tension, and exhale, set the blocks aside. Press your palms into the mat, curl your back toes under, step back to plank pose. Tailbone lengthens back, hug your elbows in, and lower your body all the way down to the mat. Pressing in to the mat, lift your chest up for cobra. Exhale, lower yourself back down. Inhale, lift from your low back. Exhale, lower your chest and head back down. Inhale to cobra. Hold and exhale, lower down. Tuck your back toes under as you push into a slight child's pose and meet me in downward facing dog. Sit bones reaching up and back, bending your knees if you are tight in your hamstrings to prioritize length in the spine. Step your right foot forward in between your hands. Tailbone lengthens back, chest reaches forward. Dip your chin so you're not tweaking your neck. Now drop the left knee, setting up for low lunge. You can take your blocks on either side of your right foot. Press your hands into the blocks, hugging your thighs toward one another to square off the hips to the front of the room. Inhale deeply and exhale fully. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale through the nose. Now gently, as you move your blocks out of the way, uncurl your back toes. Step back to downward facing dog. We're only here for a moment. So just breathe and notice how your low back and your shoulders and your hamstrings feel different here from the beginning of class. Ripple forward to plank. Exhale, lower down all the way to the floor. Hands are wide on either side of the mat. Curl up to cobra and lower down on an exhale. Prepping for locust pose or shalabhasana. Take your arms long down on either side of you. Press your pubic bone into the floor. Lift your chest off the mat. Keep your gaze down onto the mat. Lift your arms up and then your legs, if that feels okay for you on your low back, squeezing your legs in toward one another, pointing the toes back out behind you. If you want to interlace your hands, do it. And now slowly lower back down to the mat and push yourself back into child's pose. Inhale deeply and exhale. You can rest your forehead on a block. If it feels like your neck is craning, if it's trying to touch the mat, take the block underneath your forehead. Also, if you have sciatica caused by a herniated or bulging disc, you want to have your knee spread wide here and your spine long. Any rounding in the low back will sometimes irritate the sciatic nerve. Inhale, push yourself back up onto your shins. Take your hips out to the right, swing your legs out in front of you. Feet are hip width apart, soles of the feet touching down on the mat. Knees are bent. Arms out in front of you and begin to lower all the way down to the mat. Prepping for bridge pose. Bring the heels close in toward your seat. If you have your block, take it in between your thighs and begin to squeeze the block with your thighs. Curl your tailbone up, pressing the weight into your heels. Peel your back off the floor, pressing your palms into the earth on either side of you. Inhale. Remember to keep squeezing the block. Exhale. You can take a restorative bridge pose by placing the block directly under your sacrum. So that is in between your tailbone and your navel side. So make sure it's directly under the sacrum and just relax here if you're taking the restorative option. If you're in full bridge pose, keep kicking the weight into your heels, sending your tailbone toward the back of the mat in front of you, hips yearning up, and exhale, slowly lower down. Remove the block off to the side. Inhale, cross the left ankle over your right thigh. Flex the left toes back to protect your knee. And you can leave your right sole of foot on the floor if you feel the stretch in your hip and glute already. And to intensify the stretch, you can hug your right thigh in towards your body. Make sure your low back isn't curling off the mat, and also that your shoulders remain on the ground. So if you notice those are lifting, that means you've gone too far. Uncross the legs. Now we are going to do reverse pigeon on the other side. Right ankle over left thigh. You can leave the position here, or you can start to hug your left thigh in toward your chest, inhaling into any tight parts and exhaling fully. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, make sure your toes on your right foot are flexed. Left toes are just hanging out. They can do whatever they want, really. We just want to protect the right knee. Lower your feet down out in front of you, feet hip width apart, and grab your strap or a belt, a leash for your dog and place it on the ball of your left foot and begin to extend your heel up to the sky. You can keep a nice bend in your left knee, or you can straighten the leg on your left side to intensify the stretch. You can straighten your right leg, but if that feels tender on your low back, keep the knee bent with the right sole of the foot on the floor. And just make sure you're flexing the left toes, kicking your heel and ball of foot up toward the sky. Hold low onto the strap so you're not yanking your shoulders up. So just make sure your shoulders are relaxed here. Inhale into your hamstring. Exhale, gently bend the knee, remove the strap. Bend your left knee, sole of the foot on the floor. Setting up on the other side, taking the strap on the ball of your right foot, bringing the leg up straight into the air, flexing the right toes, kicking the heel and ball of the foot up toward the ceiling. You can bend your right knee if that feels good for you, or keep it straight. And your left leg can hang out here, or if you want more, extend the left leg long. Just make sure you're not hurting your low back. Inhale, relax the shoulders down, release your jaw, any clenching. You just want your face to be soft. Inhale and exhale here. Slowly bend the right knee, take your left knee in close to your seat, remove the strap. Hug your right knee and then your left in towards your chest, leaving your low back on the ground. Don't let it curl up off your mat. Inhale and exhale. Cross your right leg over your left and hug in your knees toward one another. So if your back is tender or tight, you can hold the thigh while your legs are crossed over one another. Or to intensify, you can wrap your arms around your shins, but I'm going to stay by holding my thighs. And this should feel great on your lower back. Depending on where your pain originates, this pose might be more accessible on one side than the other. So now let's switch sides, crossing your left leg over your right so your knees are lined up over one another. Hug your shins in toward your chest and notice if that's too intense. Then take your hands and wrap them over your thighs instead. Making sure your low back, your tailbone is lengthened out below you, still on the ground. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, release the low back, and exhale out through the nose. Inhale and exhale. Slowly unfurl the legs, hug your shins in toward your chest. Extending your left leg out long, and then your right leg long. Feet taking up the full width of your mat. You can place a bolster, a rolled up blanket, or a long pillow, or I have my blocks under your knees. And this feels really nice and relaxing when you're fully lying down. This releases your low back. And just have your palms facing up on either side of you. Shoulder blades relax down your back and close your eyes. Just fully rest here in Shavasana. Inhale and exhale, grow heavy. Inhale, soften your neck, your legs, your fingers, your toes. Allow yourself to just melt into the ground. Breathing naturally. Take as long as you need and rest fully here. I'm going to leave you here in Shavasana. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope that you've been able to soothe some of your low back pain and learned about some poses that you can try whenever you might have a sciatic flare-up or a tender low back. Please, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up below. Subscribe to my channel to support me and other online yoga teachers so that we can keep providing you free content.